So for today, Starweaver made an observation in his private messaging inbox. People are keep asking how I make this snow on the tables. Well, so this is going to be a little tutorial. I've made a few hills for the tables, which are presently going to be made, which you will be seeing on the paddle reports as well. First off, we need a fork, some kind of container, whatever, a plate. PVA wood glue, anything that basically sticks glue. Woodland Scenics snow maker. You also have those from Gale Force 9. They have like, I think 10% of which isn't here for exactly 3.5 pounds or something. This cost 7 pounds at Maelstrom. And we need some kind of water. I'll be demonstrating first how thick the paste needs to be, so that it basically helps you a little bit and what you shouldn't do. First off, I'm going to explain 2 errors which you most likely will make. First off, a load of PVA glue. Just for example. Then you're going to add some water. Normally I use the cap for the bottle itself, but since it's normally do it on bases and it's a little bit bigger than bases, I'm just going to run it in there like this. Fork, and start mixing. You will get a milky white substance. And make sure you mix it well enough, because it will clump up and it will leave small marks. Otherwise, looks like it's good enough. Yeah, outside it's thundering at the moment, so it's not atmospheric sound. Adding some flop. Issue 1 which you might have, and I'm trying to duplicate this. As you can see, this is too liquid. Runs around, doesn't stay on the fork. As you can see, you can't scoop it up. It's not thick enough yet from the flock. This is error number 1 which you can make. Error number 2. This, in a little bit of an over-exaggeration, is error 2. It's too thick. What you shouldn't be doing at that point is try to always thin it down with PVA glue. I know the water is much more easy to do it, but you will lose consistency in your PVA glue, which will make your snow not stick good enough to your table. So I'm going to do loads of PVA glue in it again. And at some point you might be able to do 1 cup of water in there, or one bottle cap of water in there, just to help it. But otherwise always try to thin it down with a PVA glue. There's a little bit more mixing now at the point. it should be entering. One bottle of tap, one cap. As you can see, it's very little, it's just to mush the edges out. But it's still a little bit too thick at the moment. Go. There we go. So now we have the paste that we actually want. You could make it a little bit more thin with another added cup of water, but I think it's more than good enough for this. Well, applying, well, kind of goes for itself, I guess. Those are the hills I made. These are sloped hills, which basically means that it's impossible terrain. And these hills are hills that you actually can use, since you can put models easier on the sides of it, so that you don't have the problem of that you can't place your models. Let's try placing a model here, the model just falls off due to metal, and even plastics have trouble getting there. So that's why I use those various edged hills to represent normal hills, and these are impossible terrain. So you will get your fork. On the big table I went Pollock on it, so I just started smashing the snow around, left a whole bunch of mess to clean up. Since I have a few tables standing around here, I can't do that anymore. So I'm just going to scoop it up, whack it on there, like this. And then, basically, with the foam, just scrape it out. Scraping is meant to make sure that you distribute the snow and make sure that you adhere it as much as possible to the surface of the hill. So, ta-da, hill one done. If it's not thick enough, in which at one point it will dry, and at some point you could have, in some places you have a little bit more thinness. And in my opinion I like it, because well, snow isn't as thick as everywhere. Especially not when it's, I'm not sure what you call it in English. It's going away. Melting, yeah, melting. So you can just layer another layer on top of the one you have if you want it more thick or more standing out or whatever you want to do with it. You can also pile it a little bit up so that you can have a little patch of snow. So, one done. As you can see, it goes very fast, especially with the rough areas. Jason Pollock style. Just whack it on there and you get a sort of a snow effect. Like loose patches of snow around. There we go. And then I have 2 more left to go. You will use the snow fairly fast, since it's a very thick paste. If you water it down, you will get more done, but you have the most likely the problem that you don't have enough. Yeah, that you need to do it again because your paste isn't too thick, so the brown color will get through it. Again, we will start off with the PVA glue. Bottle of tap. Mixing. Since you have some stuff lying around there, it doesn't really matter at this point. Just make sure that you add it in. Always make sure that you work. Maybe the best thing to actually do is make an arrow indeed. Instead of trying to make it perfect all at once, just don't, and just work your way up until you have the paste that you need. Because I don't use measuring cups and stuff like that, because, well, if you have leftovers and come to most likely throw them away or throw them on another table or something, it's much more easier than to make measurements and how much you use of this and how much you use of that, and well, in the end it doesn't really matter that much. So now it is almost fine enough. As you can see, it's a little bit more too thin. However, I do need a little bit more of snow to actually do the last 2. So let's go on there again. And then I would add more PVA glue to thicken it up. Almost good, just a little bit not thick enough. There we go. Now you should be getting the paste again. Yes. And now we have the paste. So just work your way up from the arrow. Really isn't that hard. Okay, last 2. Again, make sure that you press. If you have a little, if you bubble, if you like have a small pile like this one, just make sure that you flatten it a little bit so that you press it into the material. Otherwise, you might end up with loose coming snow, which will eventually happen anyway. I mean, it's going to be used, so wear and tear is there, but especially when there is wear and tear, for this kind of stuff it doesn't actually really matter, because it will not pull the paint off tomorrow, which is what I've experienced at the bigger table with snow. Sometimes it comes off, the little patches, but it doesn't pull the paint with it, so even if there is some wear and tear, you don't have to worry about your table that much. Especially when it's not very well on there, it just basically snaps off and that's about it. Yeah. Well, that's, my friends, that's how we snow a table. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was understandable. If there are other questions, well, make sure to poke Starweaver or Raven at the Privateer Press forums. You sometimes see me making posts on the battle reports. For the rest, I'm not really that active on the Privateer Press forums. I'm a lurker, not a commentator, most likely. So yeah. Maybe next time I have something else to show you. So this is how the finalized result looks on the table. As you can see, you have the thicker part here and like the most melting part here. It really becomes yeah, realistic without any very much trouble. Those are the sloped hills, or basically impossible terrain ones. And there another possible hill. So yeah, it really fell back into the table, as you can see. So, again, so this is the end of the tutorial, and I hope you guys can use it.